Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back. Today I've got a really bad monkey by DigiTech. And the reason it's really bad is because it's broken. And I have been tasked with fixing it. So that's what we're going to do here. Now, these things used to go for like under $100 on eBay. And if you've seen the recent JHS Pedals video where he compares them to a Klon and a Tube Screamer, he's able to make this sound just like those high-end pedals. So since that video, the price of these pedals has gone up in value like 4 times. And I've always thought this was a good pedal, okay? It does sound like a Tube Screamer to me. I'm not a big fan of Digitech stuff, but this pedal is a pretty decent sounding pedal, okay? So anyway, we're gonna try to fix it, and let's plug it in and see what it's doing. All right, I got my guitar plugged in right here, and I'm gonna plug in the amp. Okay, I'm gonna turn on the amp. All right, now before I plug it in, it's got two outputs. One goes to the amp. Okay, that's this one, and then this one's for a mixer. So I believe that's it's got like a built-in cabinet simulator where you can plug it into like just a mixing board, and it'll sound like a speaker cabinet. Okay, but we're not gonna use that. Okay, we're just gonna go into the amp output. And I'm gonna plug in my 9-volt center negative adapter, and let's see what happens. Do we have sound? We do. Okay, so we got a signal going through. Let's see if we could turn it on. And no light. Nothing. Alright, so it's just a dry signal going through. There's no effect coming out, and the power does not appear to be going on. So let's open it up. It could be a problem with the switch, so let's check that first. Alright, so here it is. And let's just take this out so we can look at the board. Okay. Alright, let's see. Here's the switch. Could be just a bad switch. Yeah, see, I hear the switch clicking, but I didn't hear that when I was pushing this down. So it could be that this is worn out and not making contact with a switch. It is rubber, this thing here. So let's plug it back in and just push the switch like this with my finger and see if that fixes it. No, that has no effect. The light doesn't even go on. So, all right, let's see if we could see what's wrong with it. It's not the switch. All right, let's do one more thing really quick before we go any further. Let's check it with a battery. Okay, let's just remove the power and plug in a battery and see if that works. Okay. No. Nope. That doesn't work either. So, all right, let's try to figure out what's wrong with it. All right, guys, let's take a closer look at this. If you look here, okay, right here, it looks like they replaced the diode, okay? And I don't see any holes on the bottom, so they replaced a surface mount diode with a through-hole diode, and now that I look, there's some flux here, so it looks like they replaced this capacitor also. And let's see, this one, I don't know if they replaced this one, but this capacitor has been replaced for sure. And this diode has been replaced. And let's see this one. Yeah, there's flux down here too. So they at least took this one out and put it back. Maybe they tested it, I don't know, but somebody has tampered with this. And okay, now that I look, you see this right here? This junk here? That's capacitor guts. So this had probably exploded, okay? That's what that is. So I bet somebody put the wrong polarity adapter in here, and it's another case of reverse polarity blowing things up. And they tried to fix it by replacing this diode and this capacitor, and who knows, maybe they got the diode backwards, I don't know, but we'll have to have a look and see. There could be something else blown on here. Let's see if they replaced anything else. Yeah, there's flux here and there's flux here. Let's see what this is. So this is a capacitor, okay? Yeah, this capacitor looks like it doesn't belong here, so it's been replaced. Okay, and then the other flux we saw underneath right here, that's for the LED. All right, so we can easily test that LED, okay? And let's see, these op amps are JRC 4580. Okay, that's this, and this, okay? And here's some surface mount diodes right here, and this one, and this is a transistor here. But those diodes, I bet you those are for the clipping, for the distortion, the overdrive. We'll have to test those. Okay, so now this chip here, let's see, what is this? So 14007U. I think this is a line driver. I think this is one of those multi-chips. It's got a bunch of MOSFETs inside, and you can use it as a line driver, inverter. You can use it as a multiplexer, okay? So I think this may have something to do with this mixer output. Okay, I think this chip might have something to do with that. I don't know. But the problem here is I'm pretty sure that somebody used reverse polarity and blew these things up. And whoever got this tried to fix them by replacing them. And there's still no power. So we'll have to look and see why there's no power. Could be that they put this diode backwards. Who knows? We'll have to check it out. All right, guys, I mentioned earlier that this chip right here is probably part of the mixer output, but it's not. It's actually part of the switching circuit for this pedal. This switch actually goes underneath here to this via, through this resistor, and back into this chip. So this chip is what latches it on and off, okay? It's just part of the switching circuit for this pedal. Just like the Boss pedal has the 2 transistors and a couple of resistors and capacitors as part of the switching circuit. Well, this DigiTech pedal has this IC and these supporting components as part of the switching circuit. All right, so here's another thing that I noticed. This capacitor here has also been changed. Now, there's 2 things going on here, okay? There's an attempted repair where they changed this diode and this capacitor, and it looks like they might have changed this one also. And then there's a mod that's been done to this pedal where they changed this and this capacitor right here, okay? Now, the mod is different from the attempted repair. The mod is done to change the frequency response of the pedal. So this capacitor, raising it adds more bass, and raising this one changes the treble and mid-range response. Okay, so we're not going to worry about that part. Unless I don't like the way it sounds, then I'll change it back to factory. But what we want to do is we want to fix the pedal. So we are worried about this change they did right here. So let's start by actually testing this switch to see if it's actually working. All right, let's start by testing the switch. So I got my meter set to continuity. So let's check it out. All right. I'm just gonna touch these two here while I push the button. Okay, let's see. Yep. Let's try it again. And let's do it again. Yep, every time I push it, it beeps. So we have continuity. The switch is working fine, okay? That's not a problem. All right, so now I'm in diode mode, and I'm gonna test the LED, make sure that's working. We should see around 2.5 volts when I put my leads across it. You'll see around 2.5 volts here. And you should see the LED light up, okay, from the voltage that my meter is putting on it. So let's see here. And there it is. It's lighting up, and I got 2.5 volts across it. So the LED is good, okay? All right, guys, I'm still in diode mode, and I want to test this diode to make sure it's good and make sure they put it in correctly. So it should be a Schottky diode, so I should get anywhere between 0.2 and 0.5 volts. So let's see what I get on the meter. 0.177, so that's good. Let's test it the other way around, make sure it's not shorted. And it's good. All right, so the other thing I want to do is go into continuity mode and make sure that it's facing the right way. I want to make sure that the diode is actually connected to, this is a center negative, so it has to connect to the outside part of it. So let's see. Yes, it is. Okay, so they installed it correctly, and the diode is good. All right, so the next thing to do now is to plug it in and see if we're getting power at the op amps and at this chip right here. All right, guys, let's measure the voltages. Okay, I got it plugged in. Let's see what kind of voltages we're getting across these op amps. 2.1. Okay, that's too low. Let's check this chip. 2.2. Let's see. Let's check this op amp. 2.1. Okay, something's wrong. We're not getting the correct voltages on these. So, okay, so let me see if I can get a schematic online so we could trace the voltages. All right, I was able to find a schematic online on freestompboxes.org. A user by the name of Bernardor actually traced this pedal. He traced everything except for the switching section. Okay, and now here is the power supply section, and I added this Schottky diode because he didn't put that in. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna check the voltage. We already checked this 9.3 volts coming in, and we should have a drop of 0.2 here, so we should have like 9.1 after the Schottky. So let's see what we got. And the Schottky 9.05, that's perfect. Okay, so we have 9.05 volts right here. Okay, now we're going through two 10 ohm resistors right here and into this capacitor. So I'm going to measure right here at this capacitor and see what we got there. All right, so here are the two 10 ohm resistors right here, and here is that capacitor. And going into this capacitor, we got 6.9. Okay, we have a drop there. It's kind of a big drop. All right, let's see what we got across these resistors. Five volts. Yeah, these resistors are probably open. These are supposed to be 10 ohm resistors, so let's just measure them really quick. See these right here. Okay, we got 5 volts across these resistors. This two 10 ohm resistors in parallel. We're not supposed to have that high of a voltage. Let's measure the resistance on them. 160 ohms. Yeah, that's too high. These resistors are not good. So I'm gonna take those out, and I think I'm gonna replace this capacitor too while I'm at it, and just redo this whole section. All right, I took the capacitor out of here. Okay, right here, and let's see. This capacitor, we could actually operate this without this capacitor. So I'm gonna turn it on just to see if it works without the capacitor, because we should still be able to make it work without the capacitor. So let's turn it on to see what happens. All right, let's see. So I've got the dry signal just like before, and let me turn it on. That's different. Okay, so now it's actually doing something, but it's not too clear. Okay, got a dry signal. Okay, let me check the voltages again. Let's see what we're getting at the op amps. 2.2, we're still getting a low voltage. Yeah, 2.2, still not right. Yeah, that's why it sounds like that. All right, so let's see these resistors. Do we still have a drop? Yeah, 6 volts. All right, so I'm gonna remove those resistors. All right, so I got the resistors out. They're right here, 1 and 2. And I'm gonna try to measure them without losing them. So let's see if we can do this. 178 ohms. Kilo ohms, actually. Let's see. No, 100, around 180 ohms. That's bad. What's this one? 1.4K. That's bad. These should be 10 ohms. And in parallel, they make 5 ohms. So these two are bad, and that's probably what caused the whole issue. So let me see if I got some this small to put in there. All right, so I've got to find a couple of 10 ohm resistors to put here. Now I do have some here, okay. They're a little bit bigger. I think they're the one size bigger 805s. But I think they're going to work. I think I could make them fit in there. So let's try to put these in there. All right, so I don't want to use hot air. I don't want to melt this. So let's see. I'll start by putting a little solder on the back pads first. Okay. And let's see if I can get it in there. Just like that. Okay. I got a little bit on the front too. I didn't want to do that. But let's see. Yeah, should be good. All right. Okay, one's in. Let's get the other one in. All right, let's put the next resistor in. Okay, let me heat up the back to melt that solder. And that's in. All right, that looks good. Now I'm going to put a little solder in the front, and we should be good to go. Okay, I think we're good. Let me clean up the board. All right, let's measure and see what we have. Two 10 ohm resistors in parallel, we should have around 5 ohms. .8. Perfect. Let's try it now. All right, let's see what happens. Okay, I've got a dry signal. Let's see if it goes on. There it is. That's the tone right here. And this is, I believe, the level. And this is the distortion, or the gain. So that was it. Okay, we still have to put that capacitor in, but that was the problem. Those two resistors were blown. They were open. So that's what happened. All right, let me find a new capacitor to put in there, and I'll put it back together and we'll try it out. All right, I got the capacitor in, 330 microfarads, 16 volt. Okay, and let's try it before I put it back in the box. All right, it's working. Let's put it back in the box.